Hi, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Adam Savage here in my cave. I'm wearing a hat because today we're talking about hats. This is my favorite hat right now. This is my walk around, wear around everyday hat. It was made by Biltmore as part of their 100th anniversary in 2017. It is a Hunt Club Biltmore. I have not been able to find another one like it, and I would like to add a second one to my collection because I love this hat, but I always get afraid when I only have one of something that I love as much as I love this hat. Hats have been a part of this channel since its inception. We've talked about hats. I've worn many of them on the channel. Last year, I actually reblocked and fixed and cleaned up a couple of my hats. One of the things I love so much about having this channel and recording these videos and talking to you guys, talking to you folks, is, well, it bears on what it's like to be me. That's not necessarily unique, but kind of cool. And it is that I'm not an actor that plays somebody I'm not. I am a reality television guy. And I was lucky enough to be on a reality show that was real, that followed a narrative that was truthful. And thus, what you saw on that show of me is me, mostly. I certainly get a little saltier in real life than I do in the public eye. I certainly, I curse a lot more in private. But for the most part, what you see of me out here in the world in my output is a good portion of me. And as such, people reach out to me in a way that feels really personal. And I got this letter recently from a woman named Christine de Prada, who lives in one of my favorite cities in the world, Barcelona. Barcelona is literally one of the most beautiful places on earth, honestly. I love the city. I love the people. I love the country. I love the art. I love Gaudi. I love the Sagrada Familia. I love pork. I love cured pork. I love eating it really fresh. I love, so Barcelona. So in June, Christina sent me this thing saying, thanks for the tested content. And she's sending me a book by a famous milliner. She says, the author of this book, Marianne Jongkind, is a Dutch milliner. I hope I'm getting the pronunciation right. A Dutch milliner that started creating hats in 1961. That does not seem possible. That is 6 years before I arrived on Earth. I've been lucky to count her as a friend and mentor for more than 2 decades. She was recently in Barcelona to participate in the 19th edition of the Barcelona Hat Stroll. Oh, what? 2,000 hat lovers get together to wearing their hats. And I asked her to dedicate a copy of the book to you. Oh! Before we continue, I should show you my Spanish hat. When I was in Spain, I went to Seville, or Sevilla, which is another one of the most beautiful cities that ever existed. Holy cow, Sevilla is all of Spain feels like a very safe and wonderful culture to live in. I mean, I visited there for 2 weeks. I spent time in Granada, Antequera, Sevilla, and Barcelona, and I loved every minute of it. So I bought this hat in Seville, for a deal. I just, it's not a wear around everyday hat, but I wanted a good Spanish hat in my collection. And this is beautiful from all of her hats. Anyway, what Christine loves about the book she sent me, we're going to get to the book in a second, is because it combines old school techniques with new ones that Marianne has come up with in order to make hats for Dutch haute couture designers. And what she says is that couture designers often sketch a hat without any thought to its structural construction. And Christina says, the world of millinery has traditionally been one of gatekeepers. And this is where, I feel like I'm getting a letter from a friend. Like, this is someone who knows not only that I love hats, not only that I love making, not only that I am super anti-gatekeeping, but that when someone is involved in breaking down gatekeepers, that I'm on board. So the world of millinery has traditionally been one of gatekeepers. So it's wonderful when you find someone like Marianne who's been wanting to publish a how-to book for years. Thanks to a collaboration with Abe Dieckman, the editor of The Hat Magazine. There's a Hat Magazine. We have this book full of step-by-step photos. Recently on the channel, I did a deep dive into Beverly Downan's amazing foam smithing, introduction to foam smithing and cosplay work. And Beverly did a masterwork of step-by-step instructions with pictures of each stage so you really understood where you were. This is not easy to do. The first time I saw pictures or step-by-step illustrations that really, really spoke to me is in Popular Mechanics in the mid-century. Like, starting in the 40s and the 50s, there was like an illustrative style of taking apart machines and showing how they're made that was very physical and very physicalized. Make Magazine did this in spades and still does this in spades. Beautiful step-by-steps where I really see where I am with each step. Well, I'm here to... Oh, and by the way, Christina, the writer of the letter, sent some pictures of her hats, which are friggin' amazing. I mean, there's some really, really crazy stuff in here. And here's showing internal structure of how she built out of cork the interiors of these hats, which just do not look even feasible structurally. But what Christina was doing for me was sending me this cook by Marianne Jongkind. Handbook for hat making techniques. Let's look at this together, shall we? I forgot this part. I forgot this part entirely. Christina, who is friends with the author, had it signed to me. Dear Adam, I wish you a lot of reading pleasure, inspiration, and creativity with my book. Marianne, thank you so freaking much. This is worth actually reading. A long cherished wish of mine was to write a book about hat making techniques. This has now been fulfilled thanks to the fantastic collaboration with Abe Dieckman. It is with great pleasure I look back on the past year during which we met regularly to work on this book, literally step by step. It's beautiful. There was a whole team that did this. Oh my goodness. Oh. How do you even? Oh, so pretty. But here is the thing about this book. There is Marianne. So here's pictures of her, pictures of some of her work, pictures of her over the years in museums. She's talking about the making of hats here. I recently did a book review of Theodore Gray's book, Engines. Yeah, it's actually sitting here on my table, and I'm doing a lot of book reviews this morning. And just as Theo Gray took pictures of the objects for his book that really, really, really communicate the object, Marianne and her collaborators have done the same thing. Oh, I have the same steamer. That's the steamer I use for my hats. Brushes and accessories and threads. And here is where, I mean, that right there. Like, that not only feels like a clear description of how to like properly sew, but it also, because it's a photograph and not a drawing, it makes it accessible. It brings me in, showing different stitches. Invisible stab stitch head fitting. Oh my God. So I am totally going to read this. I have perused through it. This is great. So she's got an opening section with some basic techniques and I think terminology setting so that when she starts to walk you through projects, so here's your finished project and here are the forms that make up, here's how she prepares the felt, here's the various things it goes through, and then it gets sewn. And by this time, I feel like I understand. I look at the original object and I'm like, no idea. It is a black box. It might as well be an iPhone as far as I'm concerned. And by the end of the step-by-step, I feel like I see and understand all of how it actually comes to fruition. Oh my goodness, look at that. Felt hat. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is a big one. Couture felt hat. Look at that. That is like out of a comic book almost. So beautiful. Yeah, and so she's actually even guiding you in some of these steps to previous steps to get perspective. This is really beautiful. I will tell you, every single photo feels like it's communicating mission critical information. Every single photo. Oh my goodness. There are forms that you can pull out that are different sizes. Oh my gosh. Ways to make ribbon flowers. And along the way, she's also showing some of her equipment, some of her original drawings. Oh, wow. Ooh, ooh. And also regularly showing you how the hats are worn in where they are, on a catwalk, out on the town, for couture, etc. Look, here's the thing. You don't have to want to make couture hats for this book to be useful to you at all. In fact, you don't even have to be interested in making hats for this book to be interesting to you. If you are a maker who deals with textiles at all, I would say to you that this belongs in your maker book collection. Textiles are being asked to do things in here that are only rivaled by the incredible, fantastic mind excursions of modern cosplay. And I think that modern cosplay has a lot of connection to couture design in terms of the engineering and in terms of the esoteric nature of the materials and the processes used. Marianne Jongkind, I hope one day to make it to the other side of the Atlantic and maybe even meet you and shake your hand someday for writing such a magnificent tome. I really appreciate you sharing your decades of incredible experience with the world, including this maker on a personal level. I love hats, and I'm so delighted to add this to my maker library. Thank you guys for joining me for this book review. Hat Couture is the book by Marianne Jongkind, and we'll include a link in the description below. We'll also include a link to Theodore Gray's Entrance, because I mentioned it in this podcast, and also a link to Beverly Downan's beautiful book. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for watching that video. Your support allows us to make more of this great content. If you'd like to help us on a deeper level even, head over to tested-store.com, because we've got stickers. Who doesn't love stickers? Our anime-inspired Tested logo in Japanese. Follow the process, not the plan. It's not a process. It's not a problem to solve, it's a process to manage. Other aphorisms that have come from my mouth. And we have just made a full set of our demerit badges in sticker form. So you can cover your toolbox with all of your screw-ups and celebrate it with other makers. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.